Welcome to Empire Building. I'm Wendy Papazan, and together with my 4 co-hosts, we bring you weekly unfiltered conversations about leadership, growing a big empire, and living on your own terms.
I'm Kimber Levitt-Keaty. We are investors and wealth builders with over $75 million in combined net worth.
I'm Sarah Reynolds. We are visionaries who built more than 50 businesses with over $122 million in annual revenue.
I'm Tiffany Fikes. We've led thousands of people and do it all while being pretty good moms.
And I'm Seychelle Van Poole. We are your podcast to learn how to build big businesses and even bigger lives.
Hey, Tiffany, how are you? And welcome, listeners. Good to see you, my dear. How's your week going?
Very good. It is cold. It is cold. I am learning how to be cold this winter in New York City.
Yeah, Southern girl has moved north.
I know.
Yeah. Do you guys have the right amount of gloves and scarves and hats and all of that?
I think we do. I felt very proud. We went out the other day and it was like, it had been under 30 and then now it's like in the 30s. And I didn't have to have on my entire hat, my entire scarf. And I thought, I think I'm getting used to this. Maybe I'm acclimating.
Your blood is thickening. Yeah, I went out for a walk with my friend Meg the other day and I don't know, it was probably 57 here in Austin. And I had full stocking cap on, no gloves, of course, but a jacket. And I took a picture of the two of us and I sent it to Jay and my husband. And he was like, wow, it looks really cold there. I was like, not really. I'm just feeling wimpy. So
you've gone the opposite. Your blood has thinned because you were raised in the real cold.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fargo, North Dakota, as cold as it gets.
That's crazy.
Well, hi, listeners. It's been a hot minute, about a week, actually, since we talked to you guys. And we're excited to talk about, I don't know, money is kind of our thing, Tiffany. We're more of the money manager dolls. I mean, all of our dolls, of course, are good with money, but we're the ones that I think especially, and Seychelle, love to talk about it. And so
we love to talk about it.
Yeah. So we are talking today about, it's actually going to be a 2-part series, which we're excited about. And we're going to be talking about what is the rhythm of accountability that you have in your life around money. Okay. So it's January. Maybe you had some big goals for 2026. And I'll tell you what, guys, these habits, these consistent activities done over time are going to be what pull you through the rest of the year. So we're going to give you all the tactical know-how that you need to know in order to have these money meetings, both at work and at home.
Yeah. And these tips, these meetings, it's the attention and the intention you give to money is what takes you from where you are to where you want to be with money. And so think about this as you set this goal for 2026, or maybe you set a goal in 5 years with money. This rhythm that you're going to develop with your family and with your business is what is going to propel you to that. So it's a super exciting topic. If you think about it like that, if you think about it like a money meeting, that sounds super boring, but
Yeah. Well, anything to do with money can be fun. So, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, why do these kind of meetings matter, Tiffany? Why are they even important?
I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why they're important, but most importantly, what gets your attention gets your intention. And so you have to be moving things forward in whatever category you want to work on. Just like if you never weighed yourself ever and just tried to eat healthy, you probably would not move very quickly towards that goal. You might slowly move towards it, but you would have no idea where you are. You would have no idea what's actually moving the needle for you. You're just doing something you think is going to work with no checking. And so these money meetings are going to help you stay on track because wealthy people don't wing it. They track it.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah. And also, most of the time when you're doing money stuff in your business or at home, you're doing it with other people. So not everyone. Some people manage their money kind of solo, or maybe you're a single person. But a lot of times you're managing money with somebody else. And so that can bring a lot of emotion to it, both at home and in your business. And systems kind of neutralize it. So if you have a regular rhythm for that money meeting, instead of a gradually then suddenly moment where everything kind of builds up and you kind of maybe, I don't know if you're like me, I've gradually then suddenly moments where everything just kind of spills out. This way you get an opportunity to let it kind of seep out every week. So it's not a big, tsunami of whatever is happening. So kind of takes the emotion out of it, just makes it more neutral.
Well, and recognizing that money is emotional, like it feels like money is math. It's pluses, it's minuses, but money is actually not math. Money is highly emotional. And so anything, whether you're in a partnership or you're not in a partnership, like where you choose to spend your money or not spend your money, it's very emotional decisions. Sometimes it's identity tied up in it. And so like, again, neutralizing it to try to make it as mathy as possible will help you make the right choices that you want to make, as well as get your partner on the same page with you.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like that book by Morgan Housel, Psychology of Money. He really talks about, math is really about emotions. It's about psychology, and understanding your psychology around money is super important. And one of the big, steps you need to take to become an empire builder. So
For sure.
And then it just allows you to kind of optimize your money and your wealth. If you're not paying attention to it, then probably, if you're like most people, you're just going to let it kind of be the status quo. I know that most things on my life are on autopilot if I don't put any intention around it. And so your money's going to be on autopilot if you don't put any intention around it, both at home and at work. And that can be a problem, especially when you could be investing your money to get a greater return in the future.
Yeah. And, another important thing about creating this rhythm that allows you to be intentional with your money at work and at home. But, if you don't optimize your money, if you just let it sit there, if you just let it go on autopilot, you are losing potential growth opportunities. And so like an example of that for us in our business is we had really great conversations about our personal money, but our business money, we weren't bringing the same level of focus to it. We weren't having money meetings about our business money. And I realized we have all this money sitting here in an account, losing money technically because of inflation.
Yeah.
Where if we would be a little more intentional, and we're going to talk about how to do this with cash flow and, balances and all of that stuff. But if we would take some of that money, even just cash, and move it somewhere else and then just bring it back into our checking account when we needed it, we would even just be breaking even on inflation or making a little bit of money. Or in the state of Tennessee, we realized we could, the interest bearing on property management escrow accounts are the managers, not the tenants or the landlords. And so we realized, we could do that. But all of these things came from...
So you're talking about...
like deposits.
Deposits, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, security deposits. Putting them in a bank account, you don't have to give them back to the tenants.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
You still have to keep it divided. You can't put it into any of your money, like none of that. But if we hadn't been meeting and thinking, how can we optimize this money we have in our business, we would never have discovered those things. And so we were not making money where we could have been.
Yeah. And sometimes that money in that account looks like an investment in the business. That could be a person or a system or a piece of technology. Instead of your money just sitting there in a reserve account, could actually be making you money. So yeah, I love all that. Okay, so when do you do all these meetings? I mean, I know you're busy. You've got 2 boys. You guys are living the, New York City life, hustle and bustle. You guys both work in the business. You got rental properties. You got her best life is a business. Like, how do you have time to even meet? I mean, what does that look like for you?
At home, we have kind of 2 what we call money meetings. We have a budget review, which honestly, I don't participate in. One of us does the budget review every week and just kind of keeps an eye on
Joshua
things.
does it? You said you didn't participate in it.
Yeah.
And then you said one of us.
Well, that's true. You don't have to have everybody involved in that one. For me, I actually discovered...
He's just looking at the expenses and then saying like...
Yeah, just making sure we're on track.
Yeah.
Basically, if you only look in reverse and you don't look when you can adjust, you're never really going to be on a budget. You're just going to be spending money and looking at where it got spent.
Yeah.
And so he'll say like, hey, we got lots of money in restaurants. Let's go out to eat. Like, make sure you put that in the plan that we got lots of restaurant money. So you don't need to cook extra this week or something like that.
I love that.
But for me, I realized what got us here won't get you there sort of concept of if I was looking at the money leaving our accounts every week, I couldn't enjoy spending it.
Yeah.
And so that task went to Joshua so that I could enjoy going out to dinner and I don't have to look at the bill. And I trust that he knows that we have the money for it and I can just enjoy what we do now.
And what is that, like a 15-minute meeting, that budget meeting?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
for
he checks
Joshua?
at 15 minutes and he says,
Yeah.
Tiffany, this is what you need to know. Don't worry about anything else. It's looking great. Or, oh, here's an issue.
Love it.
But then we do a monthly, what we call net worth planning meeting. And so we'll get into what all that looks like next week when we break down all these meetings for you.
Oh, yeah.
But we meet monthly, intentionally in our calendar. It literally is an auto go on the first of the month. We did move it to the daytime because we discovered with kids and teenagers, you can't control your schedule as much at night and they stay up later. And so you're up later with them. And so we did move it to a daytime meeting that we have on our calendar that we hold during business hours.
Yeah, we usually do it on a Sunday because we've got our, we had to get accountability around that. So we started a net worth club, which my team and Jace's team are welcome to join. And that's on a Monday, once a month. And so typically we're doing our net worth
Right before it.
scrambling, So I'm not that person that's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do it. So yeah, so that's our accountability around that. And we don't really do the budget review. We used to do that a lot more. We don't blessedly worry about our budget too much. We have certain things that we look at. And a lot of that is rolled into some of my weekly planning, meeting at home. But so 1 or 2 meetings a month. You could easily do that budget review along with the other one if you wanted to do it together, and that would be, it's even less than 45 minutes, I think, for us now. It's probably more like 30 minutes. Yeah, so that's the home meeting.
Yeah. So let's talk about what is the rhythm of money conversations in your business. So what are the kind of conversations you're having? How often? All those things.
Well, it does depend on the business a little bit. So I have one business that is a little less cash flush. So the numbers are a little bit tighter every month. It's not a high profit business. There's a lot of transactions. That's our home services business. There's a lot of little transactions, and then there's also some really big transactions that add to it. So that looks like a weekly meeting where we do our sync up and we're talking about cash in the bank. Like, can we make payroll, And if you have a small business that doesn't have a ton of reserves, this might be what that business looks like. But we're just making sure we've got money in the bank for that business. What are the big deposits that are coming in? Like I said, sometimes we will have a lot of little deposits. So it's kind of weird, unlike real estate, which is fairly consistent, right? We kind of know 30 days out. We could get a job and then we can finish a job within one day. And it could be a small thing, or we could be getting a big job that's going to be, let's say, $45,000, and we might get $25,000 of that up front. So it's a lot more erratic, the cash flow there. So it's just really much more important for us to really keep our eye on it. So we've got our bank balance, deposits, and then any, money that we know that's coming in. And do we need to follow up on that? Like, we've got, oh my gosh, I'm looking at our receivables. We've got $35,000, outstanding. Can we go ahead and make sure that we, collect on that? So,
and even in our real estate business and the property management business, like I said, because we're pulling money out to optimize it, we do still look weekly at cash flow and say, all right, based on expenses that have coming in or charges that have come, like, do we need to move some money out of that interest-bearing account back into the account? So if you're trying to optimize, that's a good thing to keep an eye on.
Well, and sometimes it's just kind of clicking in and out of your bank accounts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that could be like a 5-minute quote unquote meeting with yourself. But this is definitely a sync up that we do with the business every single week. So that's one of the meetings that we have.
And then we do a monthly P&L review. I'm sure you do that too in your business. So that's kind of that monthly rhythm. It's funny. These are literally like they're copies of each other. If you notice, we're saying like, check your bank accounts at home, check your bank accounts at the business, look at your overall health and how you're tracking in your home. All right, in the business, you need to be looking at how are you spending money and how is that aligning? Every month, look at your overall health in the business. they align very closely. You think it's two different things, but you actually are running the same place at home and at work.
And then we actually have one more meeting that's for our whole financial health. And she just got a promotion this week, Alex.
Oh.
My executive assistant. Yeah, she's still my executive assistant, but she's now the director of finance for Impact Capital, which is our holding company for all of our investments. And she prepares a quarterly meeting for both Jay and I because we have all these different businesses that we're running. I obviously know what's going on with my businesses, and he obviously knows what's going on with his businesses, but there's not always a lot of coordination. And so she prepares a quarterly presentation for us. It usually lasts over an hour. And in that, she's got financials for every single business, right? And the cash position there. She's got any special projects we're doing. So I've got 2 developments that I'm working on. What does that look like? How much money we've spent? What do we expect to spend on it? What's the timeline? And then it's all just kind of in one place. And then we've got this other kind of set of eyes between the 2 of us that's helping us come together. And then we go over it together and we're able to ask questions. And that's been really great for us. And so that's kind of a home and a business combined. And you can do that, if you could actually have someone update your net worth, like look at your budget for you. And then you could just sit down with them and review it and make decisions about it. So,
and then the last business money meeting that we think is really important is it kind of doesn't sound like a money meeting. Or maybe it'll sound like the most fun money meeting you get to have. So it's the sales pipeline health.
Ooh.
I know. It's our top secret money meeting that you get to have. And this is something that we think you should be doing weekly, which is looking at your sales pipeline. And what we're going to do, I told you we're breaking all these meetings down next week, but this one we're going to break down today.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Because who doesn't want to talk about making more money?
Don't change
Let's
that dial, ladies and
pipeline.
gentlemen. Do not change that dial.
So this is a meeting we have around a sales scorecard. There's a lot of different ways you can have a scorecard. I've had different iterations. I've had Excel spreadsheets. I've used CTE. Wendy, what do you use for your sales pipeline?
We've used different things. We use Airtable, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Airtable mainly.
Great. So it doesn't matter what tool you're using, whatever it is that you're using to track pendings, like pended listings.
I mean, it used to be, and I had an old school whiteboard where I did that for, years.
I had that for a decade, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 10 years I did that. So, yeah.
Just moving magnets over on a board.
Little round magnets. Doot, doot, doot.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. I love it.
But it's what you're using to track pending listings, under contract, closings for the month, your lead gen activities, like all the things that are creating your conversion rates so that you can really understand the direction or the health of your business, because that's what's going to drive more money into the funnel so that you have more to talk about at all the other money meetings.
Yeah, I love that. And you're looking for red flags. So, in your budget meeting, you're thinking about, do I have any big events coming up, right? If I'm going to have a 20th anniversary party, that's going to probably cost me a pretty penny. Do I have equipment that I need to buy? Maybe I need to buy new computers. Maybe I need to spend a lot of money on lead generation on one particular month. Like maybe that's something that pops up in the P&L, or it's a conversation that you're having about for the future. And then, in that bonus money meeting, you're looking like, oh, well, how are my conversion rates? Are leads slowing down? Are conversion rates slowing down? One of the things that we track is contracts falling out.
Yeah.
And it became very clear earlier this year that our contract fallout rate was about double of our average. We had like over 55 contracts fall out this year, which is about twice as many as normal. And so, okay, yeah, well, moving forward, we know what we need to do. It's like we have to really double down because that's going to be an issue. And for those of you that aren't like super trackers, know that I would just say that tracking is kind of a muscle, and whatever ways that you can come up with if you don't like tracking, because I really don't like tracking. I'm just used to it now. But it's not my thing. I'm not like a freak in the spreadsheets or anything like that. But I always feel like I should know more. What do you call it in Excel? Like, what are the formulas? I feel like I should know more of those. I feel like I'm always doing a wonky workaround.
At this point, you don't, the robots can do it. It's fine.
It's true. It's true. It's true. But yeah, so if just start small, start small and work your way up to all of these things and have this be your goal,
Well, and the thing about this pipeline meeting that you want to be having weekly with anybody who's making decisions. So like on our team, we're a small team. We're 8 people, but there are 3 people in that meeting. The person who's in charge of operations, the person who's in charge of sales, and then me as the leader. And so we're looking at, all right, not just did the business do what we thought it was going to do, but it's trends. It's like, is that conversion rate wrong just this week? Or has it been progressively going that direction? Or are the agents not going on as many appointments all of a sudden? Like, so you're looking for those trends, but the only way you can have trends, like Wendy says, is you've got to build that muscle of tracking. And the conversion rate is really the gold in the pipeline meeting is, from appointments set to held. Like a few years ago, we discovered that was our biggest pain point. We were actually converting everything great, but if we could get them to show up, but 50% of people weren't showing up to appointments. And we discovered that in this meeting, went back to the team, said, what are 3 things each individual person can do to help people show up? And we took it from 50% to 70% in 2 months' time.
Wow.
And so like, that happened at this meeting because we were watching those trends and saying, well, actually, that's a lie. I wasn't doing these meetings. And we discovered it all of a sudden. It was like you said, that gradually and then suddenly we looked up. But since then, we got back to these meetings. We track it now. And now we're aware of it much more quickly because we see it coming.
Yeah. And if you are familiar with EOS, they do the level 10 meeting. And this is basically something called IDS, which is as you're going through the data, you're identifying, discovering, and solving what your problem is. And I would say for most organizations, you're probably just tackling the one big thing that you can tackle this week. I mean, so many of us have pretty small organizations and we don't have a lot of bandwidth to do a lot of things. And honestly, we don't have a lot of space in our head for a lot of complexity. So at the end of these meetings, you're going to try to IDS. So if something isn't working, if you aren't getting the results that you want, obviously, if everything's going great, there's nothing to fix, right?
Yeah.
So,
celebrate.
Yay. Yeah. Celebrate the wins. And so then you're doing identifying, discovering, and solving. And then you're thinking like, what's the one thing we could tackle this week to avoid a problem in the future? And we used to call that a let's fix what's broken meeting, and we'd identify the top thing that was broken and we would fix it. And sometimes it would take a week and sometimes it would take longer. And that helped us get really clear about what was next because, let's face it, when you're starting and even when you're not starting a business, there's just a lot of change. And so there's a lot of fixing that has to happen along the way.
But I love that focus at the end on what's the one thing that you can do. So right now we're talking about the sales pipeline meeting, like what's the one thing that will move the needle forward so that you will have more money to have the rest of these money conversations. So here's where we're leaving you this week. You're either so excited about having some money meetings and you can't wait. You can't wait to hear what all they entail, or you are totally overwhelmed and could not imagine getting these things into your schedule and can't imagine doing this. And next week is the solution for both of you.
Whoa.
Because
wow.
We will break down. You don't have to figure it all out. We've already got it figured out for you. So come back next week and we will chat about what's the breakdown. What are the conversations you're having? What are you looking at in all these money meetings for the outcome? Because the outcome is your goals, whatever it is that was important to you that you set out to get.
Yes, I love that. And please, if you think about it, share this episode with a friend who needs it and leave us a 5-star rating and review. We read all of them and we are so grateful when you do. So just go out there and build your big businesses and even bigger lives. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week.
This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not Keller Williams Realty LLC and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information.